How cool is that sound? This machine is really amazing. It sucks the air out of the chamber, including the air inside the bag, of course, and then seals the edge of the bag so the air can't get back inside. This keeps foods fresher for much longer than regular Ziploc bags, and probably better than a regular vacuum sealer, although I'm not sure about that. The nice thing about this machine, aside from its strong suction power, is that you can use any brand of regular vacuum sealer bags. They don't need to be the more expensive textured bags. Another advantage to a vacuum chamber is that you can set the amount of pressure you're using so that delicate items like potato chips and maybe soft cookies or cakes don't get smushed and crushed to bits. I'm going to test that out on potato chips and some cookies later on in this video. But first, let's have a look at what you get for around $325. Ouch, that sounds pricey, but really, if you add up what you spend on bags, in the long run, this machine should save you money. The machine is heavy. Here are the specs for this model. This is the DZ260A, and it looks like the main difference between this and the DZ260C is the size of the inner chamber and the power. This machine has 260 watts of power, and really, I think that's more than enough. So far, everything I've been sealing has been coming out airtight. The dimensions are another matter. This has an inner chamber that's 13 inches by 10.6 inches and 2 inches high, whereas the DZ260C model is 14 by 13.4 inches and 2.76 inches high. Let me measure this myself and see how accurate those specs are. And you can see it's 10 3/4 inches wide. And it's 13 inches the entire length, but if I measure just to the sealing bar, that's also 10 3/4 inches. There are videos on how to use this chamber to seal items that are too large to fit in it, and I think I'm going to give that a try and maybe make a video on that to see if it really works. But first, let's see what we have here. On the front of the machine is a dial that says vacuum meter, and it's pretty simple. As the air is being sucked out of the chamber, the dial will rotate counterclockwise from red to yellow to green, and once the needle is in the green, you know that the air in the chamber has been sucked out. The machine goes through 3 stages: vacuum, sealing, and cooling. And using the settings button and the raise and lower buttons, you can set the number of seconds for each of those stages. I've been using 30 seconds for all the items I've sealed so far, and that's worked fine, except for the potato chips, which I vacuumed for 25 seconds, and they still got crushed. There's a stop button here in case of emergency, and then settings, raise and lower, and then the start button. This time window will show the countdown in seconds, and then this work window will show, I guess, if the machine is on or off. Okay, let's see what comes with the machine. This is actually a nice solid lid with some sort of seal around it, of course. It comes with oil for the machine. Yes, the machine needs to be filled with oil, but that was easy to do. I'll show you that in a minute. Let's just see what else comes in here. The oil should last a long time. Depending on how much you use the machine, you can buy replacement oil online. The instructions say to change the oil after 800 hours of using the machine, so this bottle could last you quite a bit. They do provide a handy plastic bottle to make it easier to fill the oil, and then there's a bag with a certificate of approval, and it says this product is approved to leave the factory after passing the inspection. Okay. Here we have the electric cord, some replacement Teflon coated cloths. These go on the sealing bar if they get worn out. And this is the sealing bar. I'm not sure what this is. And these are some more spare parts. I don't know yet what these are. and a little tool. That I recognize. And they give you some bags to get you started. There are 3 different sizes, 20 of each size, so that's 60 in total. The bags they give you are 12 by 10 inches. That includes the outside seam. The outside seam is about a 1/4 inch on each side. This bag is 8 by 10 inches. And this one is 6 by 8. On the lid it says, "Caution, pressing the cover and push the start button before working." What they mean is that you should press down on the lid and then push start, and keep pushing the lid until the dial starts to move to ensure that the lid is down tight. So keep pushing down on the lid until you see the needle moving. Okay, let's take a look at the back. Here's where the cord will go, and here's the main on-off switch, this red button here, and some close-up on the specs. First order of business to set this up is to fill the pump with oil. The instructions say to fill the reservoir 1/2 to 3/4 full, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, first I have to unscrew the back with this little tool they gave me, and righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, so unscrew, and once you get the screw out, the top swings up. It doesn't lift off, it just swings up. And here you can see the cap on top where you pour in the oil. Then this is the oil level. It needs to be filled between halfway and 3/4. Here's a little tour of the wiring and tubing. And now I'm going to go ahead and fill this up with oil. You can see the oil is very light colored, almost clear, and I poured in a little at a time because I was afraid of overfilling the reservoir. I ended up using the whole container of oil that came with the machine. It didn't have a label on it, so I don't know how many ounces that was. And here's the oil level. It's at about 3/4, which is fine. There's a hole here under the reservoir. That's to change out the oil after 800 hours. Let me put the cap back on and let's have a look at what's underneath. First, let me close this back up. And now let's have a look underneath. And there's another screw here. So you need the tool to unscrew and then drain the oil out from here. Shouldn't be too hard. Okay, let's attach the cord and try this machine out. There's a main power switch here, so on that goes. The front display shows just dashes, so let's press settings, and the default for vacuum is 25 seconds, so I'm going to change that to 30 seconds. That was recommended in the instructions, as they were. And then when I press settings, again, it gives me the time for sealing. It says 1.4 seconds, so I'll leave that alone. If you have heavier bags, you might want to increase that, and then press settings again. And then for cooling, it has 3 seconds, so I'm going to leave that alone. By the way, you can't just use this machine for sealing. You have to vacuum, seal, then cool. I actually tried that. I tried sealing a bag without vacuuming it, and I ended up with scorch marks on the Teflon bar. So don't do that. When I press settings one more time, it says ED, and I'm going to assume that's short for something, probably end. Not sure, but that sounds right. And I have no idea what this window means. Maybe I'll figure that out as I'm using this. First up, I'm going to seal these 2 bottles of spices. I love this ajika, and I buy too many of them. And I know they're already sealed, but it couldn't hurt to seal them up in a vacuum sealed bag. Maybe they'll stay fresher longer. I already have 2 of these open in my spice cabinet, because of course I didn't realize I had already opened one. So I might as well seal these 2 up. It's good for a first test anyway. In the bag they go. I chose the smallest bag. Always use the smallest bag for whatever you're sealing. You don't want extra room in the bag. The spice jar fits nice and snug in this bag. It's a 6 by 8 bag. That's the smallest size this came with. Okay, so the top of the bag just makes it over the sealing bar. And let's give this a try. By the way, I forgot to press down on the lid until after I pressed the start button, but then I remembered, and I don't think I had to hold it the whole time. In any case, this came out great. Now, maybe my Ajika spice will stay fresher longer. I really love that spice, and you can only get it at Trader Joe's as far as I know. So when I'm around Trader Joe's, I stock up, as you can see. Next, I tried some dehydrated tomato chips I made in, of course, my dehydrator. And these came out nicely vacuum sealed. Now I decided to experiment with a mason jar. This one is a quart-sized wide mouth, and it didn't quite fit in the chamber. The lid wouldn't close down all the way, so it didn't create a seal. Next I tried a smaller size jar. This is a 16-ounce jar, and you can see it's not airtight. It fits in the chamber perfectly. So let's see what happens. And it's done. And the lid on this feels airtight. And that pop means that it was airtight. Nice. Next up are some dehydrated orange slices I made. Yup, in the dehydrator. And they came out perfectly. These are great to take as a snack on a trip. No sticky mess, just orange goodness. By the way, the peel is a bit bitter, so you might want to peel that off or eat just the inside unless you like the peel taste. That's your choice. Next up are apple slices, also dehydrated, and they came out nicely as well. This is definitely vacuum sealed. The orange and apple slices are great to take along for snacking on a trip or a hike, and because they're dehydrated, they weigh much less than the original fruit, and they're already peeled and sliced, so it's a convenient snack when you're out. Next, I want to show you how to vacuum seal some soup, and here I have a cup of minestrone soup. I have 3 sizes of bags here, and I decided to use the smallest. And I poured the soup into the bag directly from the cup. I really should have used a funnel. Then I wouldn't have gotten some residue on the top of the bag, so I wiped that off. But use a funnel if you have one. The bag goes in like this. And after 30 seconds of vacuuming, and another couple of seconds of sealing and cooling, look at this nicely sealed bag of soup. Now this will lie flat in the freezer, and because all the air is sucked out of the bag, it should stay nice and fresh for quite a while. The next thing I want to do is try something more delicate, potato chips. I put these in for less time, just 25 seconds, and let's see. Okay, the potato chips look whole, so it looks like it worked. But then I opened the package and they were mostly broken chips. The vacuum process creates a lot of pressure on whatever is inside the bag, so you do have to be aware of what you're going to use it for and how many seconds you put it on. Just to demonstrate how much pressure is in the bag, here's an empty soda bottle. Put it in the chamber and it's got everything sucked out of it and it's collapsed into a flat pancake. So imagine what this will do to potato chips. For some reason, I don't have any more potato chips to try out. So let's give this a try with a different kind of chip. Let's try Chips Ahoy cookies. And now I'm going to reduce the number of vacuuming seconds from 30 all the way down to 20 seconds. Remember, for the potato chips, I used 25 seconds. So now I'm at 20 seconds. And as long as the needle goes into the green area on the dial, it should be okay. And here we go. And look at that, nice and vacuum sealed. And the cookies look whole, but they could just be held together by the packaging, just like the potato chips were. And as soon as I open it, the cookie could fall apart. And if it does, I'll be able to say, well, that's the way the cookie crumbles. So let's see. And would you look at that, these are whole. So if you put the seconds down to 20, you won't crumble your cookies. As for the potato chips, I'll need to buy another bag. That's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching. Bye.